looking forward to a big performance from last year's event champ Matt Wilkinson, who's going to be evenly matched up here in the third round against Wiggolly Dantas, who has some of the most beautiful big backhand fans in the game. They have positioned themselves so far up the line there. Wiggolly's having a look at this one. Let's see if he can get out in front of it. Driving down the line. There's that belt. Just cracks the lip. And he just pivots into a big second turn as well, and a third. So he is amped this morning. Looking to apply some pressure to the current world number 6. But he just blows the finish there, and that was really just a transition turn. There wasn't a lot of points in that.
And he's one of the best. And again, you know, we try to figure out the technique of why and how he does it. But again, it's the placement, the timing in which he does it that allows him, you know, and I think a lot of it too is how the angle of his board. He's able to place it perfectly in that cup. And when he does that, the angle and where his board's at throws just so much water out of the tail. You know, I like the angle that we saw. This is the mistake there. The angle we saw earlier, this one, that's the slow-mo, but right where he does it, and then he gets some release too, you know, so that's that combination of this power, because generally if you're going to start seeing the tail release, it's not going to throw as much spray, but he's able to do both. Gets that tail thrusting through or pulsing through it, and then just slide a little bit, and the spray is still there. Look at that section. Again, perfectly timed.
You can see how he does it though. It's a less vertical approach, therefore in transition he's whipping his board more. On that turn he got his board vert.
And there's not as much spray.
There's not as much spray, but he has that less vertical approach. Matt Wilkinson's like even as much torque as Wiggolly has in his bottom turn. Wait till you see Matt Wilkinson off the bottom. He really turns around the bowl and swivels so much that he goes straight up into the lip. Let's see it here as he punches through that section. Good looking waves today. Have a look at how clean it is as Matt just finds that flow through to the inside. So a lot of moves being squeaked into this ride.
You know, you have to have these nice forgiving rails on the front edge when he's, look at it, I mean, he's got 6 inches of extra width in his stance. You know, and again, rotating off that front foot. That's why he gets that release off the top so easily, because he puts that pressure on that front foot. Gets that tail to kind of drift around. See again, straight up. Look at that, fins out the back. And the reason why he's able to do that is because he transferred that weight to the front foot, so the pressure goes to that area and he can rotate out of it. And that one, he did well to keep that together. Same thing, weight distributes to the front leg. Gets the release. So cool to watch, just the different styles and approaches that these backhanders have.
One of the craziest attitude shift-ups we've ever seen from a CT competitor. That happy-go-lucky attitude, almost completely gone these days when he's got the jersey on.
You know, Wiggolly's really strong, heavy-footed coming off the bottom and hitting it with a lot of power, sending a lot of water into the air. Whereas Wilco just really had that technical aspect to it, and he's sending some buckets as well. So Christmas trees for both of them. I liked Wilco's wave a little bit more just because of the technical aspect, and he got to finish off on the inside there.
And clawing into that. So that's how you get that extra grip. Got to claw onto the grip in the tail.
I haven't seen anything like it. Here we go, Wiggolly's up once again. In second place, doesn't need much though. Wilco's only got one wave, so already he'll be moving into the lead with this one. Let's see if he can get the finish this time. Just swings it over the foam. He'll kick out, 18 minutes to go.
You know, overhead, but look at the conditions once again. That first turn. Just so, they're different in the technique, but both very pleasing to watch. Anytime you can connect with the lip though too, you know, 3 big solid turns on the outside, these transition moves. You know, it was one of those waves that was stayed open and gave him a section, never went truly flat. And I think that's important. Allows you to have those combinations of major moves.
And Matt's got to make the right choice here, because he's going to be chasing a 5.73 to get himself back into the lead. Looking like he's going to go on this first wave in the set. Draws off the bottom into that first section. And he goes down.
A little too loose.
To get into the bowl, and when the wave slows up, then unload everything you got.
This is that first section. He goes all out, gets the release, but that release, unfortunately, take a look here in the slow-mo. First section though, and I love that he just goes all out. That is his style. Gets the fins blown straight up through the roof. Very similar to that photo which we saw on site here. You know, because going rock and roll is good when maybe you got two good scores.
Well, here he is, chasing down that score of 5.73. Has a steep section here. Banking off the bottom and throwing everything at that section, but he goes down again. Oh, no, he doesn't. Just bouncing around in the foam. Good recovery.
Good recovery, but not going to be something he wants to do. That's a bit of a lost control. And now he's going to have to watch Wiggolly.
Dantas looking to round things up here. Needs to better a 6.73 and a bit more of a high-risk turn. He can afford to go for that move, being on the outside, and Matt way further down the line.
Let's take a look at this one. You know, we know what kind of went wrong. You know, this wave was tough in the very beginning, didn't give him a nice steep section. He finally gets there to this one, and it felt like that was a little mistimed, which got him to this section pretty much at the right time, but getting loose and not able to come out with any kind of drive and speed. This is always good to see the slow-mo of it, but this is his technique. You see toes wrapped over the rails once again. I like it. It's exciting to have him do that type of surfing, but when you live on the edge, sometimes keeping control can be very difficult.
So just over 9 minutes to go here. A good job of recovering. I think a few years back, if Wiggolly draws Matt Wilkinson here in the third round, Wiggolly's your favourite. But it just feels like Matt's got more to give in this exchange. 9 minutes to go. Wiggolly unable to put something up better than a 6.73 on that occasion.
I have an amazing relationship with everyone on this town, and especially my schools and all the local boys. They always respect me a lot because usually I stay here after the event, so pretty much everyone leaving, and then usually I stay here. And yeah, that's why everyone have a good relationship with me, so yeah, I appreciate that.
You notice on that screen all that moisture in the air. You know, we've got that chilly water, the barometric pressure is changing, and all of a sudden you get this. I mean, the last few mornings sometimes it's been kind of dry, but today very moist and cold. So let's see how it affects the lineup out in the water. I mean, it's glassy right now.
And trying to stick it through the lip and then coming straight back down. He hit a flat spot. Here he goes now. He looks like he's going to wind up, though. He's got the clock ticking up into the bowl. Another little lip line, a little bit behind it, though. Having a tough tempo time out here right now. Unfortunate for him. And he's going to get out of that and try and get something else.
And he's going to let it go, which we'll see if it's going to come back to bite or not.
He had a quick look at it, loaded up that bottom turn. There wasn't anything for him to tee off on, so he kicked out. Wiggolly now having a look at this one. He's going to let it go. 50 seconds remaining. So it's going to be a shorter ride, less opportunity. Matt's going to really have to dig in first turn. A lot of power unloaded. Let's see what he can do here. Stands back on that tail for a moment. He's going to throw the reverse. Only needs a 5.83. 5.73, sorry. Couple of big turns, got the reverse done. Thoughts, Pete?
You look at me. I don't think it's enough, personally.
Just the wave was smaller. I mean, there was a little bit more opportunity on that wave, but because Matt has taken the previous ride,
I've been wrong before.
He missed a little bit of wall to work with on the outside. Look at this section. It's kind of flat. It's a super dynamic turn. One of the more progressive of the heat. So we'll have to wait and see. It could be close.
Watching it again, always you feel like it could be close.
He's going to need a lot of credit for that last move. The number has just come through, and a bit of an upset there with last year's event champion Matt Wilkinson falling short of the required score, and Wiggolly Dantas celebrating as he moves through to heat 4 of round 4.